It's Lacey Webster here, the Teen Services Librarian for the South Regional Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make a book page flower, which is a part of our discarded book art video series. So let's go over the supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need a discarded book. You're going to need a knife or some scissors to cut the pages out of the book. You're going to need a ruler to measure out the petals from the pages. You'll need something for the stem. So I've got some wooden skewers, I have a wooden dowel, and you can also use a straw, which is what I used in this case. And then I decorated it up with some extra paper. You're also going to need glue. So for the glue, you can use tacky or school glue. It does take more time. And if you do go that route, you'll need some binder clips to hold the piece in place for it to dry. But if you do have it, the best route, because it'll be the quickest route, will be use a hot glue gun. And then you'll need some little sequins or jewels to put on the flower for the middle so that it'll look all decorative and pretty. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is cut some pages out of the book. And I've already done that, but just to show you how to do it, you'll just clamp the middle part of the page and then just push down like that. And then you've got some pages, right? Okay, so to make the flower, we're going to need 5 petals. So we'll need 5 sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for right now. For this flower, 7.5 centimeters squares to make the petals. Of course, if you want smaller petals, you go smaller. If you want bigger petals, you go bigger. That's completely up to you. But for this flower, it's 7.5 centimeters on both sides. So we're going to measure that out with the ruler. Put a little mark there. So that we're nice and square. So we want to make sure this is good and straight before we make the cuts. And it looks like it might be a little off. So we're going to draw a little line there. And this is just your guides for you to cut out the squares to make the petals. And then, of course, y'all, just be careful with scissors or knife, whatever it is that you choose to use. Just be careful with it. All right. So we're going to put these extra sheets aside because we'll use that later. Okay, so now we've got 5 sheets to make some petals. And these folds are super easy. And you're going to do it again and again, so it's not hard. So put it where the corner is facing the top and bottom. And you're going to fold it in half perfectly to make a triangle. Make sure you can see that. Get under here better. Okay. Then you're going to take this right corner and fold it up onto this top corner. Straighten them out, straighten out those lines. So here we've got that. Then you're going to take the other corner and fold it up into that corner too. You're going to let this come up so you can see it. And you'll see you can push on it like that and see how it looks like a petal. So we're going to take this while it's open like that and push it down and flatten it out. Flatten out those sides. Okay, so now it looks like this. And then you're going to turn it this way and be sure to keep this middle clamped because you don't want that to come undone. And then you open that one and come push it down too. Flatten it. So now you have what looks like this. So now we're gonna flip it, and you see how there's the edge here and the edge here. We're gonna cut that off. Cut off the excess. Okay. So now you're gonna take this edge here and fold it again onto itself. And it already kind of has a fold, so it kind of goes easily on its own. Same with this one. See the little line there? Folding up. Get that nice and tight. And then the final step is to pull these two edges together. Okay? And if you look, once you've got that clamped down, you have a petal, right? So now I'm gonna just put a little bit of glue inside here. Tighten that down. And be sure not to try to bend, which I kind of did on this one. Try not to bend the outside because you're bending that. So you're only clamping down on this side here. Just hold it there a second. And then you can see here's the first petal. We're going to put that aside. So now we're going to do 4 more. Again, the triangle, form a triangle. Then the right corner into the top, like so. This corner into the top. Smooth it out. And then pull it back up, form the little tulip looking petal, and push down. And turn it and do the same thing here. I love this pattern. They have all kinds of different paper flower tutorials, but I just love this one. It's just super simple and the steps are easy to remember. Okay, so then we flip it over. Let me cut the excess off. So now, where that line is, we're going to fold it in on itself. And again, right here. Okay, and then these come together. See, this one did a lot better here. Okay, so now we're going to put some glue. You don't want to go too deep though, because then it kind of takes away from the seed looking stuff that's in the middle. Okay. Just clamp that. And see, once it's held, you kind of squeeze it like that, and you have the little pieces on the inside to make it more realistic looking. So cute. Okay. If y'all want, I can actually try to do one with the tacky glue just so you can see the difference. Okay, all right, let's do another one. But yeah, not just from watching our videos on different ways to use discarded books, but we also have books that you can check out in the library on all kinds of book art. So you've got free time, got a whole bunch of books that you don't know. You've already read it 3 times and you probably will never read it again. Do something like that with it. And these I actually got from our book giveaway. There were some teen books that had been out and nobody grabbed them. And instead of them being completely discarded, I took them to recycle them to make a craft. Okay? So you can do the same. Grab a book from our book sale, read it, and then make something cool out of it. Okay. So next step again. Okay. Oh, let's try this one. Let's see. Okay, well, the glue's not ready, so I'll just, we'll improvise here. Y'all know how to use glue. But what I'll show you is how the difference. So obviously the tacky glue does not stick immediately. So if you were using tacky glue, you would take your binder clip and clip it right there on the very edge and just leave it there. And I did this one with regular tacky glue and it works exactly the same way. And by the time I finished folding my next petal, I could undo it. So let's keep going. Got 2 more to do. And then go ahead and take this off. Isn't that pretty? All right, one more. And it's okay if it's sticking out a little bit because it's going to be up against your stem anyways, so you won't see it. But if it really bothers you, you can wipe it off. If it's the hot glue, I wouldn't really recommend it unless you have a paper towel handy. But like the regular school glue, you can just wipe that off. Okay. So now, time to glue it to our dowel. Guess we can use the skewer since it's more likely you'll have a skewer at home rather than a wooden dowel. Okay, so this one's real good. Kind of squeeze it, bend it into shape a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna glue right along this line. Same place where we glued before, but on the line. Okay, and then we'll go right to the edge of your wooden piece. Just hold it there a second, and then you're good. Okay. And your next piece. Right on the line. Try to be quick with it. Now, this one, we're going to go right up against the first petal, but then up against the wood. And you do have to be kind of quick about it because it dries real quick. I should have been a little quicker, but I think it's good. And kind of bend it a little bit. All right, next one. Okay. Same thing here. Kind of bend, push it, get some pressure. Okay. 2 more. Okay. Kind of push that one too. All right, last one. Final one. It fits right in there nicely. All right, look at that, y'all. Pretty flower, huh? Okay, so now we're gonna grab one of these sequins. And for this one, I think the bigger one, should we do the big one or the little one? I think the big one will be good. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a bunch of glue right here in the middle. And then throw this right on top. Just be careful, you don't want to burn yourself. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to show you how to make some leaves to kind of dress it up a little bit. Okay, so with the same paper that we cut from, we can make leaves. So we'll take like 2 of these pages. Okay, and we're just gonna cut some, oh wait, I forgot. We're gonna make a strip first. And we're gonna actually fold this in half. Kind of like if you were making a paper heart. Very similar to a paper heart, but it's just a leaf. So instead of like curving it up and then down for a heart, we're just gonna start here. And you can make some big and make some smaller. You kind of want to give it a little tail. So I have that. See, here's some leaves. Okay, so now this is where you're gonna kind of give it some texture. So you'll hold the leaf flat and kind of at an angle, and you're gonna take this tip and fold it down. So, see it? And then you're gonna go one down, and then you're gonna take the bottom and fold it up. And then it's better to use this with tweezers, but I don't have tweezers, so we're just kind of winging it. So you're gonna fold up and down, up and down. Just making kind of like a little accordion type thing. Okay, see it? Okay, so then we pull it apart. I can get it apart, y'all. Here we go. And there you have a nice textured leaf. Now, you're going to want to do it with this side facing up. And so you're just going to put a little glue here on the tip, like that. So you pretty much put it wherever you want, but I'm gonna put some close and some further down. So you can see where that's at. Okay, I'll do another one. To the side of it, but a little further down. Sorry, y'all. Here. Okay, let's say we'll do 2 more. Okay, let's try it again. So, fold the corner down, or the tip down. And then this one this way. And then this way. Wait, hold on. Yeah, down. I think that's how it's supposed to be. Like I said, this isn't crucial, it's just kind of extra. Okay. Yeah, so got the little ripple effect going. So let's do it that way instead. We'll have a unique flower, okay? So, where am I at here? I'm gonna put it like that. I think it needs one more. Okay, down. Down, up, down, up, down. Okay, let me undo it. Nice rippled leaf. Okay, and we're gonna put this one real close up on the flower. And you just hold it for a second. All right. You've got some pointy flowers and some rounded flowers. All right, so now we've got 2 pretty flowers that we can put in a vase or we can use to decorate the next item on my list, which is going to be some folded book art. So we'll put that into place here in a minute. But this is the book page flower. Pretty. And if you wanted, you can dress up the skewer too by wrapping pieces. You could take the excess paper, cut you some strips, and just wind it around. But that's up to you if you want to do it or not. This is Lacey Webster here, the Teen Services Librarian from the South Regional Library, and I'm going to show you another segment of the discarded book art video series. The one we're doing right now is the folded book art. So you're going to need a discarded book that it has at least 175 pages to do this specific pattern. However, you're free to do any pattern you want. You can find them on the internet or make your own. That's up to you. But for this specific video, we're doing the heart. Each stripe, black and white stripe, represents a fold. There's 80 stripes, so we're gonna have 80 folds. So whenever you are picking out a book though, you would just see how many pages you have, which you count the last page that's numbered 399, and then add the blank sheets in the front and the back To get your total, then you divide that number by 2, because each page has a front and a back, has 2 sides. You divide that in 2, get your new number. That's how many number of pages you're gonna count out in the middle. But basically you wanna have this block and then a small little bit on each side with your middle, okay? So we're gonna do 80 pages. Okay, so now once you've counted your page numbers, I would highly suggest writing those page numbers down on a piece of paper in case the book closes, so you'll know where you need to be. But for this book specifically, since there's a lot of extra pages, I counted out 80 pages, which would be page 101 through 262. And I have that written down on a piece of paper. So now you've got your middle section and you've got pages on each side, okay? So I have that written down, so now it's safe to close the book. And I also want to suggest that you have another book around so that you can place it on top. So keep things down. So step 2, you're going to use a ruler to measure both ends of the book pages. So you're going to look at the top of the book and draw a line on the pages at about 4 centimeters from the left end. Okay, and then you just draw your line going straight across. Because this line is going to note how far back we make our folds. Okay? Then you're going to flip the book over and do the same thing on the bottom end. Hold that tight. Make you a nice little line there. Step 3, you're going to need a sharp knife. Please be careful with whatever you choose. Scissors really aren't going to work in this instance, so you do need like a knife. Okay, and so what you're going to do, very carefully, you need to make a stripe across this line. And if you really need to, you can get an adult to assist you with this if you don't feel comfortable doing it. But just to show you again, you're wanting to make like a little indentation in that line. Okay, then you do it on the other side. And you can hear the pages go through. And I usually do it both ways just to make sure. Getting a good dent in there. Okay, so now I'm going to show you if I can get close enough what I'm talking about. So if you look closely, you can see the little indentation that it made on the page. Can you see it? And it'll be on both sides, so you'll know where that score is. And it should be on both sides. Okay. Okay. Next, you want to take your pattern and center it, because somebody might want the shape higher up, you want it in the middle, or you want it down low. Well, I want mine right in the middle. So you can kind of measure it and see how far from the page. This is 5 centimeters. And then off the top of the heart, let's see the bottom of the page. Top of the page, I'm sorry, is right here. And that's 4. You might want to come down with it a little bit more. That's 5 and 5. All right, so this looks pretty centered to me. So you're going to fold the page to make a little indentation, and the same at the bottom. Okay, and then you're going to want to go and cut the excess paper off. Go back. Fit that in there again. Make that line more across. So now it's fitting in there better. Right on the page, see? All right, so now the next thing we're gonna wanna do is make some marks. So you're gonna need your pencil. This is where things take a long time and get tedious, but you're gonna wanna start with this very first stripe, the black stripe. We don't really need to worry about that little white one, it's just so small. So we'll start with the black stripe, and we gotta get on our special page. The first page I have marked as the beginning of the 80 pages is 101. So this is page 1. And what you're gonna do is place this page, the pattern right underneath. Make sure it's centered, make sure your lines are matching the page where you want it, where we originally measured. And then you pull out till that first stripe is just showing. So I know it's kind of hard to see from far away, but it'll get better once we get further along. So then now you're gonna take your pencil and mark on the book page and make a line, a horizontal line, noting where that stripe ends, because that's where the fold's gonna end. And then you wanna make a little note on the paper where the stripe is so you know that you've done that stripe. Okay? So there's a little bitty thing there. And here's our first marks for the first fold. Now I'm gonna do a couple of these so we can just get an idea, and then I'll show you the next step. So now we go to the next page, and we're gonna go to the next stripe. So again, make sure to line it up with the book. Come out. So now we're gonna do the white stripe right here and right here. And then a little color on the page. Next page. Stick it back in there. Now we're going to black again. Make a little line, and color, so we know we've done that one. So now you can see we've done 1, 2, 3. You can choose to go and make all your marks first, or you can make a few marks and then make some folds. That's completely up to you, it's a preference. I personally like making a few marks and then doing the folds, just to kind of see it coming together. And just for showing purposes, I had started in this book, and here's a few of my folds. So that's what they're gonna look like. But I'm gonna show you how to do that. So, ruler and pencil, they are your friends. So remember those marks that we made at the beginning with the knife? So that's gonna be your little guide. So you're gonna put one part of the ruler there at the end of that mark, and then the other one goes to the top pencil mark that we just made. Then you take a pencil and draw a faint line about in the middle. You don't need to go all the way to the end, because then you'll end up with a bunch of lines all over the top of your heart and sides. Okay, then we're gonna do the same thing for the bottom. Line it up with our pencil mark and line it up with the knife mark that we made. Okay, so now we fold along that line and make sure that the ends end up on the knife point and the pencil mark. So we're gonna fold it down, and you have to pay attention, because a lot of times you'll go over and you're looking at this one and it's the wrong one, because I did that before too. So let's see if I can make you where you can see this. So fold there and way out here, and see, because you have that little nick, it kind of folds it for you a little bit, and then you straighten it out, flatten it. Okay, and then the same for the bottom. Here you're gonna fold, and then all the way here, and go down and make it flat. Okay, and then this folds over, so that has begun the start of your heart. So we'll do a few more like that. And see how the folds are slightly different in size? I'll do one more. So now I've got 3 folds, use my book to hold it down, and now I gotta go and make some more marks. We use our heart. So then we already know we've done 3 because I've marked them, so now we're on the white stripe. Line that up with the page and pull out slowly. So we're on the white stripe. Mark, mark. Oop, I mark my little thing. Okay. Otherwise, you're gonna lose track of which one you want. Then you have to go back and waste time counting. And you don't want to have to do that. So now we're on the black one. Okay. And you just continue doing that until you get through your 80 folds. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that up, and then we'll see the finished product. So after making all of your stripe marks, your lines and folds, your book should look something like this. There's the heart. And you can leave it fanned out, standing like this. And if you want, you can add in some paper flowers to decorate it up some. Make it as a desk decoration or stick it on a shelf. But that is the book, folded book art. It's Lacey Webster here, the Teen Services Librarian from the South Regional Library, and this is another segment of the discarded book art. If you have an old book, you can make blackout poetry. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. Blackout poetry is a great introduction to poetry for those who haven't had much interest or don't know much about it, and then it's also cool for people who already like poetry. So let's go over the supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need a discarded book or one that you finished reading and you don't know what to do with it. We'll take a single page from that book. You're also going to need a pencil for circling, eraser. You're going to need scissors to cut the page out of the book, and you will need dark markers. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is grab a page from the old book, and you're going to skim through the words. Also for today, I'm just briefing you on this. I'm not going to show you the entire process because it is pretty time consuming. So I've prepped some pages and I've completed one, but I'm just going to again show you the steps. So we've got a page here. We're going to skim through the page of words, but we're not going to read it carefully because the point is just to grab an idea from the words, not take them in. So find words, phrases, or a general theme that you might like. So we're going to take the pencil and circle some words that stand out to me. And you can just lightly circle them because we're going to be erasing them later. And you kind of want to try to find verbs, nouns, stuff that can possibly make some type of sentence or make sense. But words that have meaning. Okay. So I have circled the words. So now the next thing we're going to do is you need a blank sheet of paper to transfer these words to see what kind of poem we come up with. Not really sure how it's going to go yet, but we can take a look at that later. So I have beautiful, everything shifted, before, remember. Strange, thought, after, uncomfortable, circumstances. Eavesdroppers, that's a good one, right? Seeing people around, and I just for some reason like this. Jaw drop, no such thing. So we have some words. Once we've got them down on paper, we're going to read through them, cross out the words you don't want, And if you need a few connecting words such as a, the, it, and, then dive back into the page and see if you can find them between the words that you want to connect. So let's go ahead and look back. I've got beautiful, everything shifted before, and I want to make a subject. So I'm going to come back here and erase this, and there's actually an I before that. So I'm going to put I remember as a phrase, and then I'm going to come to my sheet here and use my little grammatical marks and add I. Strange thoughts, and I want to add the S, thoughts. It wasn't there before, but right afterwards there's the letter S, so we're going to include it. So I did it like that. Let's see. Thoughts. Strange thoughts after uncomfortable circumstances. Eavesdroppers, seeing, I can add some people. So I'm going to connect that little phrase there. Around. Jaw drop, no such thing. So I'm adding some people. So I'm going to put my little add mark and add the word some. So now here's our revisions or editing, and now I'm going to rewrite it, right? So I'm just going to put a little marker here on my book so I know what page that is. And then using a pen or pencil, right now I just have a pencil, so I'm going to rewrite it and make it more structured and like a sentence. So we'll capitalize beautiful. Beautiful, everything shifted before I remember, period. Oh yeah, and we added the S on thoughts. I forgot to do that here too. Luckily I remembered. But you can notice it when you see it. You're like, wait, that don't look right. Strange thoughts after uncomfortable circumstances. I did that again. That's why it's good to have an eraser. Period. Eavesdroppers, seeing some people around. I'm going to put a semicolon. Jaw drop. No such thing. Then if you want, you can title it. So here's my poem written onto my paper. So then you're going to put that aside. Now we're going to go back to the original page. And you're going to take your black marker or dark marker. And you're going to box these words in that you just circled. And it doesn't matter if it goes over the other words because everything's going to be darkened anyway. You just want to make sure that the word or phrase you circled is boxed in, but it's still legible. You can see it. And just go right over the pencil because we're going to be erasing those lines anyways. Make sure that if any of the words have a letter that drops down, that you're not cutting it off, like a J or a Y or a G. Okay. So then, if you look close, you can see how there's still some pencil marks. So I'm going to go and erase those. And you just erase right over the black marks. Now you're going to read through your poem again, and you're going to sketch in a few images that relate to your poem. You know, think about the theme, what's happening here in the story. So I'm going to read it again. Beautiful, everything shifted before I remember. Strange thoughts after uncomfortable circumstances. Eavesdroppers seeing some people around. Jaw drop? No such thing. I guess I'm thinking in my mind thoughts. So I'm going to draw a question mark. And I have a pretty open spot right here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to bold it to make it bigger. Like that. So here's a question mark. Put some rays. I need to bold these. because I have to color around them, not inside. Okay, that looks good. Just to kind of give you some idea of what you should be doing here. I mean, if you're artistic or you're more creative than I am, you can draw all over this thing as long as you color it in afterwards, okay? So the last part is the long process. You're gonna take a black or dark marker and blacken in everything that is not a word in your poem or a part of the sketches. And then once you're done with that, you're gonna write out your completed poem on a separate piece of paper to display next to your blackout poetry. So you can either, well, you're gonna have to cut this out. So you get to the very edge of the book and just push down. Get close to the seams. You want to remove this piece from the book. We could have done that before as well, so that you might not ruin any art or something that you've made. So in the end, you're going to take your poem and put it side by side. You can type it up, you can leave it on a piece of paper, you can put it on some colored paper, however you'd like to do it. I've already completed one already, so I'm going to show you what the finished product could possibly look like. So this is another one I've done, and I titled it Remember.